We're gonna start things off with an acceleration. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Nissan Kicks SR. With all that being said, let's just get straight into the review. So under the hood we have a naturally aspirated 1.6 liter 4-cylinder that goes through a CVT automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 31 around town and then 36 on the highway, with power outputs being 122 horsepower and then 114 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go to the front end of the Kicks. So first off, I love this blue metallic paint. You can see it just looks fantastic here in the sunlight. Now coming down below, we've got these full LED lights. We do get LED fog lights as well. And then notice the chrome accenting here just down below the light, and then how they have that through the grille. And then I really like the design here on the grille. Notice that the Nissan logo doubles as a sensor, which is a pretty nice touch. And we have more chrome accenting. And overall, from a front end appearance perspective, I feel like it's a really good looking little, I guess it's a CUV technically, but it really looks like a stretched out Altima. Like look at the front end. Kind of looks like that. Now coming on the side here, we've got 205mm tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then they went for an all blacked out wheel in terms of the design here for the wheels themselves. But notice we still get the chrome Nissan logo there in the center. And then we have these plastic fender flares that continue all the way down to the side with the plastic molding. And it creates a nice contrast between the blue on this particular car. And then notice we do have a two-tone paint scheme with this particular Kicks. So we've got the mirrors that are blacked out, and then we've got the pillars as well, and then we have the roof that has also been blacked out. And so it definitely gives it this nice, unique, kind of sporty appearance, because you've got like the blue on the bottom, well, in the middle technically, the black on the bottom, and then you have the black on the top as well. Now popping here into the rear hatch area, it's actually pretty large. You get a cargo cover here, and then you guys can see the loading floor is actually pretty far down there. Now if you pick this up, notice that you've got a little bit of extra storage space, and you can kind of see the spare tire peeping out the side. But yeah, overall, like I said, pretty decent amount of storage space considering this is such a small vehicle. And, well, so yeah. Now let's finish things up here in the rear. So first off, we have a faux light bar, and you guys can see with the taillights, that's what they look like when they're on. But notice that they continue with kind of the reflector there through the center part to make it look like it has a light bar, even though it technically does not. I think it looks good though, stylistically. Got your regular badges here on the bottom, and then this is actually body painted all for the bottom portion with parking sensors there in that center plastic part. Pretty interesting design there with the exhaust tip because it sticks so far out. It's kind of like what you have in like old school muscle cars. Pretty interesting from a design perspective. But yeah, other than that, you guys can see definitely looks good from a rear end perspective. And then there are the crossbars and everything at the top of the Kicks. Now first off, we've got some nice soft touch. We're going to rest your elbow here for the rear passengers. Got the window control right there. Pretty cool design here with the seats because you've got the light contrasted with the dark, and then you've got orange stitching there in the center portion. I think that looks great. And then we'll pop in, and of course, since we're at a Ben Hardy home review, we got the TIVAs on. You guys can see you've got a couple areas we can charge devices here in the back. And then if you guys are wondering, 6 foot now officially, which is great for me. And well, I don't touch the top, so I can actually fit back here. But anyways, let's head to the front. Now here's the door panel in the front of the Kicks. So again, more soft touch. We're going to rest your arm for the front passenger. You've got your window controls right here and your mirror adjustment, the door lock and unlock, all that fun stuff. And then here are the front seats. And you notice that the driver's seat is pretty interesting, and that's because you actually have a speaker there in the headrest, which, I don't know, definitely a unique touch. There's kind of like a closer look at that. None of the other seats have that, so the driver's seat is kind of unique in that sense. But again, contrast between the dark and the light here with the seats and then the orange stitching. The seats are manually adjustable. And then here's a quick look at the pedals. I'm sorry, this is all dirty. There's a pretty bad storm, and I've been getting in and out of the car. You've got your gas cap release, and then you've got that for the hood. You do get a heated steering wheel, which is definitely nice. And then notice the orange stitching and leather here on the side, and then the circular vent. Always a cool little thing. But there's one more look before we pop in. So here's our steering wheel for the Kicks. We've got nice orange stitching here on the center portion, and then we've got our adaptive cruise control on the one side with our voice command phone controls, volume controls, controls for the center stack on the other side. Got your regular stock for the turn signal and lights, windshield wiper stock, and well, that's all for the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster with the Kicks. Notice you've got an analog gauge for the speedometer, and then over here on the other side we have that screen that you can scroll through a couple different menus. Notice that, well, the average fuel economy so far, 34.9 miles per gallon, definitely solid. But basically you have these different menus that you can scroll through. So like you've got like the radio menu, for example, and then you can go over here so you can see the range and then also the RPMs, which I think that's my favorite viewpoint just with how that looks aesthetically. But that's everything for the gauge cluster. Now here's the center infotainment system. Notice we've got shortcut buttons there on either side. So for example, we can press the camera button, and notice that this does have a front camera with trajectory lines that do turn with the steering wheel and a bird's eye view. And then if you press it again, we've got a side view with the camera system. And then if you press it again, it goes away. And then if we pop it into reverse, notice that we still get that bird's eye view, and then we get the backup camera again with trajectory lines. So from a camera perspective, just really solid. Now as for the rest of the infotainment system, like I said, you've got these shortcut buttons right here. And then as for the screen itself, response time you can see is really solid. It does come with Bluetooth, all the normal stuff, and that's all for that. So we do have the climate system here. It's just a single zone climate. You do get heated seats, and then we do have the automatic climate function on it. And then you guys can see here, we've got some like storage space with some USBs, a 12 volt. The parking brake also lives its life there, and then the auto hold. And we have the shifter for that CVT, and then you do have this that mimics low range on a regular automatic transmission if you're going down like a steep canyon or something like that. Something that's interesting is, notice you have the stop start button here, but you still have like the steering column that has a stop start button there, but obviously this doesn't have it there, so it has like the area for it. I don't know, interesting. Got some cup holders right here which you can actually take out so that you have some extra storage space there in the center. And then we've got the center console, which definitely on the small side, but again, it's a small vehicle. I definitely like the leather padding they have here, and I also like the leather here on the dash with the stitching that goes across. And then we've got the glove box right there, and that's all for the bottom part. So I guess we'll finish things here at the top. So notice that there's not a whole lot going on. We've got sun visors, you've got the lights up here, and then another light there for the back, regular mirror. That's all for the top. Now here's our window sticker for the 2021 Kicks SR. And so if you want to read all of the options this comes with as standard equipment, then feel free to freeze the frame. And that's one thing that's really cool about Nissans is pretty much everything is standard, but we do have a few options on this particular car. So notice that the base MSRP is $21,940, but you've got stuff like, well, the roof spoiler, which, I mean, you guys thought looked pretty cool. We've got the two-tone paint as well. And then notice that premium package is the most expensive option added to this particular car. Definitely worth it, especially for the sound system. And let me tell you, that speaker in the headrest definitely helps out. Definitely sounds really good. But you can see the total MSRP here is $26,730. Let's take her out and see how she drives. Let's talk about visibility here in the Kicks before we set off. There's your visibility over the hood, through both of the mirrors, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So we're gonna start things off with an acceleration. That's 40. And that's 50. So you guys can see it is not exactly quick whatsoever. I think this might possibly be the slowest accelerating car I have driven up to this point. And you know what? It's okay, because again, what you lack in acceleration, you gain in fuel economy here with the Kicks. I had to show that to you guys, and obviously I have to be honest to you guys about that. But this car really isn't about acceleration, right? If you want a faster accelerating vehicle, Nissan has plenty of SUVs and cars as well that accelerate substantially quicker than this. What this is all about, again, is getting great fuel economy, having good standard safety tech as well, and then on top of that, just being a cool little sporty looking vehicle. Even though that's 40, it's not fast whatsoever. Wow. But let's actually talk about the rest of the driving dynamics with the Kicks. So first off, I love how this handles. Like, it's so tiny and it's so lightweight. I think it's like 2,700 pounds, that it's just like super zippy, and it just goes around the corners really quick. And it's actually fun to drive once you're up to speed. It just takes a while to get up to speed. And then aside from that, ride quality is actually very smooth, very compliant for this type of vehicle in this particular segment. And look at this, guys. Like, it just, I mean, I don't know, it handles great, and there's actually decent steering feel as well. It's actually, it's pretty fun to drive. Like I said, once you're up to speed, it's pretty fun to drive. And then in terms of the seats, they definitely are on the firmer side. I prefer that, but I know some people definitely don't. The speakers and the headrests, fantastic. Definitely, it sounds great from an audio system perspective because of that. And then the fuel economy real world has been great. I've been averaging mid-30s, so exactly what I'm supposed to be averaging, what this was rated from the EPA. And just look at this. It just, like, the turn in on this, it's just because it's so light. It's crazy. Man, they should make a Nismo version of this. Nissan, throw a transmission other than a CVT and make a Nismo version of this with like 300 horsepower. I'd buy one. But other than that, I mean, it's comfortable. The automatic climate controls work fantastic. I know a lot of people have been asking me lately about air conditioning, so I guess I have to talk about it. Air conditioning works great in this. That was a little bit of a quicker acceleration. And then aside from that, I mean, it's just a great little vehicle. Like, I've been daily driving this for the last couple days, and it's great. It's quiet. It's relatively quiet on the highway. Again, for the segment that it's in, it's great. The adaptive cruise control works great. Like, it's, I don't really have, like, again, other than the acceleration, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. It's definitely competitive with where it needs to be in this particular segment. It's really reasonable from a price point perspective. And so if you're just wanting something other than a car, which everyone wants SUVs and trucks nowadays, so that's probably you. So you want a little bit more ground clearance, you want extra storage space in the back, so like if you have dogs or something like that, or if you just, you know, want a little bit more storage space, but you don't want to have to concede fuel economy, it's a great vehicle. And again, with all the standard technology this comes with, it's a really good value overall. And so, yeah, I mean, that is the Nissan Kicks. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's a cool little quirky car, and yeah, I'll see you guys. Now that's gonna sum things up for our video on this 2021 Nissan Kicks SR. And with all that being said, I'll see all of you in the next video.